Russia is accusing the U.S. of waging economic war in response to President Biden banning Russian oil, natural gas, and coal imports to the U.S. The Kremlin says the country will do what is necessary to defend its interests, whatever that means. Meanwhile, amid these historic sanctions, concern is growing for Americans detained in Russia, like Phoenix Mercury center Brittney Griner, one of the WNBA's most dominant players, who's been detained in Russia for weeks and has not been allowed to leave the country. The Russian Federal Customs Service said it discovered cartridges containing hashish oil in her luggage at the airport near Moscow, an offense that could carry a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Here's an apparent photo of Griner that was used on Russian TV and is now on their YouTube channel. It includes a track line that, according to one of our Russian translators, says the hope of American female basketball is posing in a police station with a sign with her surname on it. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee of Texas has called on the Russian government to release Griner, and she joins me now. And I understand, Congresswoman, that Ms. Griner is originally, I believe, from your district, and so you are speaking out on her behalf. I'm wondering if you have heard anything about the situation that she is in now. Have you gotten any sort of feedback from the State Department or anywhere else?
Well, first of all, Joy, thank you for having me, and thank you for being concerned. We love Brittney Griner. Family members are there, coaches are there, and just all of her high school friends, of course, and look at her now. Putin is a baby killer, so it is very difficult to see how he would have compassion for this young woman. We know that in a few days, we may hear a more detailed account from the State Department because of some procedural matters that have now been cleared up. We do know that she is detained. But I also know that these allegations are ones that are alleged and they are promoted by Russian officials who know and knew Brittney Griner as a long time player for their teams and one who's given great joy to the Russian people. That customs agent well knew that he could have provided her a temporary suspension out of the country and not able to come back for a period of time, could have confiscated what she had allegedly and sent her on her way. You wonder why she was selected. She's very well known and why at that point in time she had to be selected or had to be examined further. And these particular items that they say that I don't want to believe because I don't believe the representations that they've made, and these facts have not been brought to bear to us. But I do know that as an American citizen, that she had no reason to be held for this extensive period of time. We do know that there's another case that happened and that person was let out in a month. We see her approaching a month and no evidence of that at this time. So we are concerned. Yeah. She has a number of individuals working for her, including Russian counsel. I believe it is important for the United States to work for her. And in meeting with the president, I presented him with a letter to help us. And I'm very glad that the State Department and the president is well aware of Brittney Griner. And
I will note that her wife, Sherelle, posted an Instagram photo that we can put up just to show, thanking everyone who's reached out. And I don't know if you've been in touch with the vice president's office, but she is in the region. You've been very vocal. I'm somewhat surprised that we haven't heard much from any of the Arizona, either the United States senators from Arizona have not said much. She does play in Arizona. But I wonder if there's any thought that maybe the vice president, while she's there, may address this in some way while she's in the region.
You know, I don't want to speculate, Joy, but it is certainly appropriate. She's obviously there in Poland to deal with the confusion about the MiG fighters and the necessity of air cover for Ukraine and the request that President Zelensky has made. But I have seen the kind of, you call them sidebar conversations, and a sidebar conversation would certainly be appropriate. And I wouldn't put it past her agenda that might be raised. But I think it's important to say that what is happening is that there's Russian counsel giving guidance, and I respect that guidance. But I believe that the federal government, the United States of America, the president, because there are others being held in Russia, and they've been held in such vicious conditions, their health is deteriorating, such as a young Mr. Reed and others. And the point is that we can't let the brutality of Putin, you know, I started by saying he's a baby killer. This is his war. There was no vote for this. He has 6,000 Russians in jail right now, and he continues to create a World War III atmosphere in Ukraine. So I think we have to step in and exert our sovereignty over our citizens and demand that they be released and get them out of there, if I might say it in that way.
Indeed. And I might note that 13,500 protesters thus far have been arrested for being brave enough to dare to protest against Putin's war of choice. And as you said, war that is included killing civilians in hospitals. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, thank you so much.